Welcome to the DCTV News at Noon program. I'm Kelsey Kiesling.
And I'm Kendra Cook. The Dolores County Broadcasting Network is the producer of DCTV with support from the Southwest TV Translator Association.
If you have a news topic or event you'd like to see covered, give us a call. The studio number is 677-4119.
Today's show runs Thursday at noon, 3 and 6 p.m. and again is re-aired later throughout the weekend with the other weekday broadcast replays. Today is May 24th, 2018. And now, the news at noon.
According to the Durango Herald, the U.S. death rate rose last year, and 2017 likely will mark the third straight year of decline in American life expectancy, according to preliminary data. Death rates rose for Alzheimer's disease, diabetes, flu, and pneumonia, and three other leading causes of death, according to numbers posted online Wednesday by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Full-year data is not yet available for drug overdoses, suicides, or firearm deaths, but partial year statistics in those categories showed continuing increases. Just as important, there was little change in the death rate from the nation's number one killer, heart disease. In the past, steady annual drops in heart disease death rates offset increases in other causes, but that offset is no longer happening, experts say. The CDC's National Center for Health Statistics calculated the preliminary rates based on the first pass review of death certificates filed last year. There typically are delays in the filing of paperwork for causes of death that involve police investigations. A more complete report is expected around the end of the year, including the number of deaths and calculation of life expectancy, the average lifespan based on year of birth, current death trends, and other factors. For decades, life expectancy increased, rising a few months nearly every year. But 2016 was the second year in a row in U.S. life expectancy fell, a rare event that had occurred only twice before in the last century. Health officials say there was one 3-year decline that occurred in 1916, 1917, and 1918, a period that included the worst flu pandemic in modern history. The overall death rate rose a little less than 1% to about 734 deaths per 100,000 people. The rate dipped slightly in 2016 despite a record number of deaths that year. So its rise in 2017 is more reason to expect life expectancy will worsen, Case said.
From the Journal, courtesy photo. Voters will be asked in November if term limits for the 22nd Judicial District Attorney should be extended from 2 4-year terms to 3 4-year terms. The district covers Montezuma and Dolores counties, and both boards of commissioners approved the ballot measure at the request of District Attorney Will First. First will reach the term limit allowed for holding the office in 2020, and he wants to seek re-election if voters approve the third term extension. He says voters should be given the opportunity to re-elect their district attorney if that is their choice. First said the community would benefit from continuity and experience in the office and allow successful programs to continue if he is allowed to run for a third term and is re-elected. It promotes stability in the office and gives assurances to staff, he said. The opportunity to serve 3 terms would allow the district attorney to engage in long-term planning and ensure continuity for programs previously launched or newly developed. During his term, First said he implemented a district-wide grand jury system, expanded juvenile and adult diversion programs, supported pre-trial services, and specialty court programs such as drug and DUI courts. In 1994, Colorado voters approved a constitutional amendment that set term limits for all elected offices in the state. The amendment does allow local governments to place term limit exemptions or modification questions on local ballots. Since 1994, 56 out of 64 counties have removed or extended term limits for 1 or more elected offices, including Montezuma and Dolores counties. First said 1/3 of Colorado judicial districts have extended term limits for district attorneys. According to Montezuma County Clerk Kim Purcell, the ballot language reads, "Shall term limits imposed by state law of the Colorado Constitution on the office of District Attorney of the 22nd Judicial District be modified so as to permit an elected office holder in that office to seek and to serve a third consecutive term if elected?" The question also will be on the November ballot in Dolores County. Both counties must approve the measure for the term limits to be extended. This ballot measure does not guarantee any current or future DA will be reelected, but it does provide voters with the freedom of choice to elect that DA for a third term if they so desired.
Reported by the Durango Herald with photos by Jerry McBride with the Herald. A recall effort against La Plata County Commissioner Gwen Lachelt failed to collect enough valid signatures to trigger a recall election, the county clerk and recorder announced Wednesday. Recall supporters were 36 signatures short. They needed 7,505 valid signatures, but received only 7,469, according to a news release sent Wednesday by the clerk and recorder Tiffany Parker. On May 2nd, recall supporters submitted an amended petition with 8,654 signature lines for verification by the clerk and recorder's office. Parker determined that 1,185 of the signatures lines were invalid. Parker said there is no procedure to appeal of her count within her office, and if recall supporters wanted to challenge her count of valid signatures, they would have to file a lawsuit in court. A recall election would have cost the county an estimated $58,000. Three La Plata County residents, David Peters, Ty Hawkins, and Michael Cugnini, led the recall effort because they said Lachelt's work on environmental lobbying harmed her attendance at county meetings. They also said she leveraged the duties of public office as a county commissioner to advance her interests and the interests of Western Leaders Network. Lachelt, a Democrat, formed Western Leaders Network as a nonprofit bipartisan platform for local and state officials to connect on conservation issues.
From the Journal, photo credits Jim Mimiaga. Dateline Mancos. Local entrepreneurs in this small southwest Colorado town see potential for a thriving local hemp industry, but they need area farmers to jump on board. Green Links Farms built a 10,000 square foot greenhouse this winter west of Mancos and is growing thousands of hemp plants for the medicinal cannabidiol market. Mancos brothers Jack and Bob Varkados and Bayfield couple Kevin and Connie Wing are partners in the large-scale venture. They have a startup staff of 7 full-time employees at their grow facility and farm. We're making a statement that we are doing this, Kevin Wing said Monday during an open house and tour. Hemp can provide a good income for farmers. The company sells young cloned hemp plants for $5 to $7 each and offers technical services. But to jumpstart the local hemp economy, they need farmers to start planting fields of hemp. Our long-term goal is to build a cannabidiol extraction plant here and pay farmers competitive prices for their hemp flower, Wing said. Hemp is a genetic cousin of marijuana, but without the intoxicating chemicals. It is legal to grow in Colorado with a permit from the State Department of Agriculture and is regulated to not exceed 0.3% THC, the psychoactive ingredient in marijuana, on a dry weight basis. Cannabidiol, or CBD, is found in hemp and is one of more than 100 cannabinoids identified in cannabis. Hemp's fibrous stalks can be turned into rope and textiles, its seeds into fuel and food, and its flowers into a medicine derived from cannabidiol. Green Links has a business partnership with Criticality LLC, a hemp bioextraction facility in North Carolina. Criticality is buying up the Mancos company's hemp plants. 25,000 were shipped this week to cultivate them and extract the CBD to be sold on the market. Scott Profiter, head of field operations and outreach for Criticality, said hemp has cultivation similarities with tobacco, and the tobacco harvesting equipment can be modified to handle hemp. Tobacco company Alliance One International now owns a 40% stake in Criticality, according to company filings, with an option to increase to 50% after March 31, 2020. The filing showed Alliance One invested $10 million, which was likely the purchase price for the 40% stake. CBD extract is used for healing salves and to make medicine to relieve pain and seizures, but without the side effects of opioids. On a recent visit to the Green Links facility, Profiter discussed the specifics and pricing of growing hemp during a public tour attended by 20 participants. Currently, cultivating costs are $10,000 per acre, including plants, labor, water, and inputs. Profiter said typical yields were reported at 1,000 pounds of floral material per acre, or about a pound per plant. Sales of harvested flowers are estimated at $20 to $25 per pound of dried floral material that has 10% CBD, Profiter said. The higher the CBD content, the higher the price. Gross revenue per acre calculates to $20,000 to $25,000 minus the production cost. Net profit per acre is $10,000 to $15,000, and that's better than alfalfa or beans, said Wing. The estimates were based on North Carolina growing conditions at 12,000 to 14,000 plants per acre. But profiters said the numbers could be better for Colorado because the low humidity and lower mold risk allow farmers to grow more plants per acre. With good growing conditions, a knowledgeable farmer could really knock it out of the park as far as the pay is concerned, he said. I've seen some make 2 pounds of flour per plant. He said Criticality's bioextraction plant in North Carolina provides well-paying jobs in an economically challenged area, and the same could happen here, he said. Risks of growing hemp include difficulty in obtaining crop insurance and lack of access to bank loans because the crop is considered illegal by the federal government. However, a bill in Congress aims to take hemp off of the Controlled Substance Act. Green Links plans to offer a suite of testing services as well so farmers know how much CBD their crop is producing and to make sure they do not exceed the 0.3% THC threshold. We're selling the plants to get people started. If we get enough support, we're looking to build a CBD extraction plant so farmers could sell their harvest locally, Bob Vacardos said. Right now, the nearest CBD processing plant is in the Grand Junction area. Tips for growing hemp were also discussed during the tour. The crop needs a lot of maintenance and monitoring to generate ideal yields. Scouting to spot nutrient deficiencies and mold is key. Hemp does not have significant pest problems. The crop copes with winds, but if plants are watered too close to the base, they do not get ideal root development and could lose stability. Harvesting involves drying the plants and bucking to remove the flowers from the branches. The market for CBD is much better than for grain or textiles right now, profiters said. Canada's large hemp production has saturated the U.S. grain market, and it is tough to compete with cheap cotton and synthetics in the fiber industry. After the flowers are sold, secondary markets could be available for the unused stalks and stems, such as for composting or selling to companies that use the fiber, including a substitute for plastic. We're putting our heart into this to generate something for the local farmers and the economy, Wing said. We're testing the waters and hope those interested will contact us. Green Links Farm can be reached at 970-676-4200 or info@greenlinksfarms.com.
Reported by the Cortez Journal, World History will not be offered at Montezuma Cortez High School next year as the school transitions into a more flexible schedule for students. In an email to the Journal, Principal Jason Wayman explained that Montezuma Cortez School District RE1 and the high school require 3 credits of social studies. Previously, freshmen were automatically enrolled in World History. Now, freshmen will be enrolled in U.S. history and have additional options for their social studies credits later on. He wrote that students do not have to take U.S. history as freshmen. In an interview with KSJD Morning Edition host and news director Austin Cope, Wayman said that the World History class will be available again once 2018-19 freshmen and sophomores take U.S. history and are eligible to choose their next social studies course. Wayman told the Journal that for the past 6 years, MCHS has offered world history, U.S. history, and government classes to students as social studies credits. The change will allow students to choose their 3rd social studies credit in their sophomore or junior year. And now let's take a look at the weather.
Our continental U.S. national weather map from NOAA shows the high-pressure system moving up in through the southwest, splitting the 2 low-pressure fronts with rains and thunderstorms ahead of the Pacific Northwest pattern, dipping into northern Utah and Wyoming, and then again some more severe thunderstorms possible in the eastern Dakotas and into Minnesota, tracking on down through to Kansas with potential heavy storms expected today, and rain remains in play in parts of Texas, most all of the southern states through to Florida. A potential for flash flooding is on the map for South Carolina and Georgia, while the Midwest and Rust Belt catch a break with some warmer spring sunshine, as well as the eastern seaboard from the mid-Atlantic up through New England. Regionally, our hazardous weather outlook remains in effect. Dry and very warm conditions will occur today with some storms possible over the eastern Uinta Mountains this afternoon. Gusty winds and lightning will be the primary threats with these storms over northeast Utah. Otherwise, expect mostly sunny skies to prevail. Looking ahead, dry conditions with very warm to hot temperatures will continue through Saturday. Winds will increase on Saturday ahead of an approaching storm system, leading to potential for critical fire weather conditions for much of western Colorado. The chance for precipitation will slowly increase late weekend into early next week as this storm system affects the area, with isolated storms still favoring higher terrain at this time. The local 5-day outlook. Today, sunny with a high near 78. South-southwest winds 5 to 15 miles an hour. Tonight, clear with a low around 46. Southwest winds 5 to 10, becoming east-northeast in the evening. Friday, warmer with sunny with a high near 82. Southeast winds 5 to 15 miles an hour, becoming south-southwest in the afternoon. Friday night it'll be clear with a low around 47, south-southeast winds 5 to 15 miles an hour. Then Saturday, it looks like a fire weather watch will be in play, as it will be sunny with a high near 82 degrees and breezy with a south wind 10 to 15 miles an hour, increasing to 15 to 20 in the afternoon. Winds could gust as high as 35 miles an hour. That's Saturday afternoon into the evening, and Saturday night mostly clear with a low around 45 and still breezy. Then Sunday sunny, and we cool off a bit with a high near 74. Sunday night mostly clear with a low around 45. Memorial Day is still predicted to be quite nice, sunny with a high near 76, and Monday night partly cloudy with a low around 45. And then back to the work week on Tuesday, sunny with a high near 78. Tuesday night partly cloudy with a low around 48. And now back to the news.
Reported by the Cortez Journal with a photo from the Journal file. On Tuesday, the Cortez City Council gave Public Works Director Phil Johnson permission to seek a civil engineering consultant to oversee parts of the Main Street median project. In his presentation to the council, Johnson said his staff wasn't able to properly manage the construction of medians on Main Street and conduct their other responsibilities at the same time. He said he plans to send out a request for proposals to consulting engineering firms around the Four Corners that could supervise the project and make sure the city is meeting all of the Colorado Department of Transportation's requirements. The contract with the consultant would cost the city up to $50,000 to be taken out of the Street Improvement Fund. The price of a consultant was not included in the original budget for the median project. Johnson said he and his staff didn't realize it was a need until after the city approved the project's budget. Because the city is receiving funds from the Colorado Department of Transportation for the accessible sidewalk part of the median project, Johnson said it has to meet stricter construction requirements, which have to be reviewed by a state-certified engineer. The city has enough money in its street improvement fund to cover the cost of the contract without dipping into other funding sources, Johnson said.
From the San Juan Record in Utah, photo credit B.S. Norrell, courtesy logo. Energy Fuels Inc. intends to resume vanadium recovery operations in 2018, and it expects to recover significant quantities of currently dissolved vanadium from pond solutions at the White Mesa Mill south of Blanding, Utah. Vanadium prices have risen by more than 400% over the past 2 years to about $15 per pound. Based on extensive test work and laboratory analysis, the company has identified significant concentrations of dissolved vanadium in pond solutions at the mill. Based on current estimates, Energy Fuels believes these pond solutions, the result of previous milling operations, may contain more than 4 million pounds of recoverable vanadium. The White Mesa Mill has a long history of conventional vanadium recovery, most recently producing 1.5 million pounds of vanadium in 2013. During its 38-year operating history, the mill has produced over 45 million pounds of vanadium. The mill is the only operational conventional uranium recovery facility in the United States, and at the present time is the only operating facility in the United States with the near-term ability to resume vanadium recovery. Energy Fuels has also recovered uranium from the same ponds, 308,000 pounds in 2017 and an estimated 200,000 pounds in 2018. Energy Fuels estimates that it could recover up to 500,000 pounds of vanadium in 2018. They will evaluate actual 2018 costs and recoveries, and given favorable results, would expect to continue vanadium production from pond returns in 2019 and 2020. Mark S. Chalmers, president and CEO of Energy Fuels, said Energy Fuels' White Mesa Mill has historically been a significant producer of vanadium. Due to recent vanadium price strength and bullish market sentiment, we are evaluating a number of opportunities to resume vanadium recovery. If this campaign is successful, Energy Fuels would expect to become a commercial-scale vanadium producer for the next few years just from pond solutions. For longer-term alternatives, we are evaluating other opportunities, including processing previously mined uranium-vanadium stockpiles at the mill, processing other vanadium-bearing streams, and with improved uranium prices, the reinitiation of conventional uranium-vanadium mine production from our mines that contain large, high-grade vanadium resources, including the LaSalle and Whirlwind mines, which are currently on standby. In an attempt to strengthen the domestic uranium industry, Energy Fuels and Energy recently filed a petition with the U.S. Department of Commerce seeking an investigation into the impact of uranium imports on national security. Mark Chalmers said after years of market penetration, much of the uranium and nuclear fuel used in our country is now imported from Russia and other countries that share neither our environmental or worker safety standards nor our competitive market principles. Adding further urgency to the threat, on April 13th, Platt's article described how Russia uses geopolitical brinkmanship to exert pressure on U.S. energy infrastructure. With U.S. uranium production falling to an all-time low and geopolitical tensions with Russia, the government must act now to protect our energy and national security. Mark Chalmers added, if the uranium Section 232 petition we recently filed with the U.S. Department of Commerce is successful, we would expect improvements in uranium prices, which could potentially allow these mines and others in the region to resume commercial uranium and vanadium production.
Reported by our local Dove Creek Press, May 17th marked the first day unaffiliated candidates could begin circulating petitions to get on the November 6th general election ballot. Under state law, unaffiliated candidates can choose a party name as long as it is not already recognized in Colorado. Some candidates chose to stay with the unaffiliated classification, others declared to be independent, and still others chose to be members of the approval voting party. However, they are all unaffiliated voters. The requirements for this group is less arduous than for Democrats or Republicans who petitioned on the ballot earlier this year. Unaffiliated candidates running for statewide office need only collect 1,000 signatures, compared to major party hopefuls who had to collect 1,500 signatures in each of the state's 7 congressional districts. Also, unaffiliated state House candidates need only 400 valid signatures. Republicans and Democrats must collect 1,000 for that office. Republicans and Democrats must collect signatures from their own party members. Unaffiliated candidates can get a signature from any valid voter as long as the voter has not already signed a petition for another candidate for the same office. Unaffiliated candidates are allowed to try to collect more signatures if they have been declared insufficient. The petitions are due back to the Secretary of State's office by 3 p.m. July 12th.
From the Telluride Daily Planet, file photo. When Norwood's Christine Boscoff and Charlie Fowler disappeared in Tibet in November of 2006, they were considered something of a power couple in mountaineering circles. Boscoff had become the first American woman to reach the summit of 6 8,000-meter peaks, while Fowler won a 2004 award for Outstanding Mountaineering Achievement from the American Alpine Club, thanks to his pioneering rock climbing and multiple ascents of Earth's highest summits. After the couple's bodies were discovered, Steve Johnson, a local attorney and a close friend of Fowler, spearheaded an effort to designate 2 unnamed 13,000-foot mountains near Wilson Peak in their honor. Last week, Johnson's wish came closer to fruition as the Senate Committee on Energy and Natural Resources passed legislation that would christen the 13ers Boscoff Peak and Fowler Peak, respectively. When the couple vanished 12 years ago, the mountaineering community was perplexed. Fowler made his last known contact with the outside world in a November 7, 2006 email sent to Alpinist magazine stating, "We're in the town of Litang for a few days, getting ready for one more trip into the hills. Now off to one more different area to try a 6,000-meter peak and a smaller one." Because Fowler didn't identify the destination, no one knew where to look for him and Boscoff. Search efforts by Chinese authorities had an independent search party retained by friends and mountaineers continued through most of December 2006. On December 27th, however, searchers found a body mostly buried in snow at the 5,300-meter level of a 6,200-meter Mount Genyon. Though darkness prevented them from making an immediate identification, they returned the next day and confirmed that the body was Fowler's. Boscoff's body wasn't found until July 8th of 2007 and was retrieved that August. Both casualties were attributed to an avalanche. The proposed Boscoff Peak and Fowler Peak both straddle the border between Dolores and San Miguel counties. Though the subrange of the Uncompahgre National Forest is widely known locally as the Wilsons, it officially goes by the moniker San Miguel Mountains. Fowler Peak stands 13,498 feet high and is located due west from Wilson Peak on the north edge of Navajo Basin. Boscoff Peak, which tops out at 13,123 feet, occupies the same alpine ridge about 1 mile west of Fowler. It sits due north of Navajo Lake. The Fowler and Boscoff Peaks Designation Act was introduced by U.S. Senator Michael Bennet, Democrat, Colorado, May 25, 2017, and was co-sponsored by U.S. Senator Cory Gardner, Republican of Colorado.
And now for the Dolores County Sheriff's Roundup for the week of May 14th through the 20th. Officers performed building checks on local businesses to make sure they were secure. Responded to the Lone Cone area to investigate a report of trespassing. That concludes today's roundup. Stay tuned for continued updates.
In today's High Canyon Country Happenings, the 2018 STEM Science, Technology, Engineering, Mathematics Summer Program in Dove Creek will be held June 6th and 7th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Robotics camp for boys and girls age 8 to 14. It will be held at the Community Center. Lunch will be provided, and to sign up, call Gus or Oma at the CSU Extension Office. That's 970-677-2283. And 1 day of hand-on energy experience, 1 day of fun with robotics. The space is limited to 30. Last day to sign up is June 1st. And the Dolores County Library 2018 Summer Reading Program theme is Libraries Rock. Readers of ages 4 to 12 will explore all things musical this summer as Children's Public Library presents Libraries Rock during the summer program. Activities may include group games, musical crafts, art projects, science and engineering experiments, and more. Sign up in the elementary library anytime during school hours till May 24th, today, the last day of school, or for more information, call them 677-2356. And Chelsea Garcher, head of the Pick and Hoe Committee, provided an update at the town board meeting as reported in DC Press. The celebration will be 4 days this year, July 4th through the 7th. The fireworks are still scheduled for the evening of the 4th, along with the parade. The softball tourney and some other events will be moved to high school fields at the Weber Park Field, as the Weber Park Field is under construction. At this time, it is reported the pig chase will still be held, but the drilling competition may have to wait until next year. More info will be forthcoming. The Pick and Hoe royalty has seen no interest at this time, and without interested parties, this tradition is at risk. If interested, please contact Chelsea Garcher as soon as possible. The permits are ready to be signed as soon as the committee's insurance information is forwarded to the town. The Pick and Hoe Committee did mention that they are looking into the feasibility of moving festivities to the county fairgrounds next year. Weigh in if you have an opinion. You can find them on Facebook or call them at 601-316-8444. And all of the happenings are posted on our DCTV News at Noon Facebook page, along with the YouTube replays, weather and original stories, and local posts. To share your event or information, contact us by email dcbnnews@gmail.com or call the station 970-677-4119.
Thanks for tuning in. News at Noon airs at noon Monday through Thursday and then is rebroadcast at 3 and 6 p.m. on each of those days. The weekday news shows are then replayed throughout the weekend as well.
And be sure to check us out on social media. Our Facebook page is DCTV News at Noon. Please like us there and share it with a friend.
For Kendra Cook with DCTV and the News at Noon program out of Dove Creek, USA, I'm Kelsey Kiesling. Thanks for watching.